Hi, this is Joanne. Welcome to our podcast, Following Through. I'm here with my co-host, Sujun. Sujun,
Hel-
how are you doing?
Pretty good. Hello, Joanne. Hello, everyone.
So, how has your past? Well, for I guess for any new listeners, this podcast we just talk about our weekly goals, and then we talk about what we've accomplished the past week. And yeah, how has your week been in general?
This week has been interesting. Definitely the goal, achieving my goal has been challenging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to share my experience with you all. How about you, Joanne? How has your week been?
Yeah, it's been a little busy at work, but with our prior podcast, we had decided to do both. Working on exercising, so I wonder if this is something that we can just kind of talk about together, instead of taking
Yeah,
turns, and
yeah.
see how much we've gotten done or the lack of. Definitely is probably on a lot of people's goals in general. But
Usually the New
yeah.
Year's resolution definitely includes working out more.
Right, exactly. And I think there was like some studies showing that, I mean, you can just kind of see it after New Year's Eve, the gym starts getting packed. Well, this is before COVID. And then after a few weeks, it starts dying down. So, it is definitely hard to maintain. But Sujin, so what
Yeah.
type, did you have a specific routine that or like regimen that you were going with your
Yeah,
workouts?
so as I mentioned last week, my go-to are the few YouTube videos by a few fitness gurus, I would say, that I would just refer back every now and then. There are a handful of them, and I thought I would challenge myself to do something new. But before I go that far, it has been challenging sticking to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I I mentioned to you last week that I haven't been really exercising regularly for a while, even though I've been active most of my life.
Yeah.
But just in the last couple of months, I just have been kind of dormant. So it was so bad that at some point I really dragged myself onto the mat. I put on my workout clothes onto the mat, and I literally just lie there and watch the YouTube video. That is
So it was your yoga was a glorified couch, and you were dressed for it. You're dressed for the TV.
exactly. Oh, absolutely. If you just walk by and see me, if it's just a second, you're like, oh, she's resting from working out so much. But actually, not really. So it has continued to be challenging, and my German neighbor actually told me about the 5 second rule
Yeah.
by Mel Robbins that she's reading currently, and uh, I have read about the 5 second rule earlier on myself. I decided to
Hmm.
give it another try, but gosh, it hasn't worked before.
And
It's
just
not
as
working
a
now.
reminder, the 5 second rule is just you just count to five and you just do it, right?
Correct.
It-
And the key is to count down. It's kind of like launching a rocket. Five, four, three, two, one. Apparently, that really tricks your mind to launching.
I can imagine people around you. It's like, what are you doing? Hold on. Let me count down from five, four, three, and they're just like, okay. So that did not quite work out. Actually, I forgot about you mentioning that, and I haven't really tried using it, but I might try that this time around when I'm needing some motivation. So how would I mean, I guess in terms of protocols or regimens, I don't have anything set yet, and this kind of ties into my next week's goal, but usually I just run maybe a mile. I'm not a huge runner. I'm not super athletic, but like run or swim for like 30 minutes or so, and then I'll just kind of throughout the day do some type of strength training. And there was nothing like set, but I kind of got into a habit of like maybe some sit-ups, maybe some plank poses, like two or three things here and there. Um, but yeah, this time around it was definitely tougher because I would say like a third of the days of this past week, my friend wanted to go hiking, so I went hiking instead. So I kind of like, all right, I did that instead, so I'll count that.
It
Um,
sure counts.
yeah, I was like, all right, I'm tired. Whatever is exercise, I'm done. And then the other third, I wouldn't do any cardio, and I would just do a little bit of strength training, just enough to like make myself feel like I did something, but not really. And then the other third, I was just too tired after work to do anything. So, um, like you're saying, it's tough because you're not. It's not so much the exercise is tough. It's the putting that into your routine is tough.
Yeah,
So
and once you
yeah.
fall off the bandwagon like I am right now, getting back to it's kind of hard. And so that reminds me to once I get back to a routine, to
Yeah.
continue to maintain it. That is the key, so that I don't have to do this again. It's tough.
Well, I guess kind of like stepping back, you say you fell off the bandwagon. What made that occur? Like what happened before that you feel like
Hmm.
caused you to,
That's a
fall off?
that's a really great question.
Yeah.
I think that in my life, maybe I kind of lost balance in terms of dealing with some work stress.
Right.
And because there were some things that we were dealing with at work, and I gave myself an excuse to deal with work and postpone the workout,
Right.
sort of trading workout time for dealing with work.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was sort of um, that really threw me off. And learning from, I'm really glad you asked that question because I didn't really think about that. And now talking through it with you, I think that I should make workout session
Right.
non-negotiable.
Yeah, and it's almost like this slow transition from when I was younger, it's like, oh, exercise is just like a luxury, or it's athletes do it for a sport, or it's something like a hobby. And the more I feel like I'm getting injured or hear other people getting injured, like for instance, I had the same discussion about strength training with my friend who's a dentist, and
Mhm.
she has to constantly, for however hours a day, like kind of tilt over and look in someone's mouth. So her posture is even worse than just like sitting on a computer. She's like slouched over, looking down, and she started to have neck pain that radiates to her arm, and it was becoming like an occupational type of like side effect. And so we were having a discussion. It's like, yeah, I find myself crouching over because I'm sitting a lot, or like recently I also had like a rotator cuff injury from playing tennis, and it just kind of reminds you like exercise is not just for sports. It's actually just like a necessity to prevent injury, to stay healthy, prevent osteoporosis, that type of stuff. So it has been a hard mental transition from thinking that, like you're saying, it's a must. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just like food.
yeah, right. And speaking of which, reflecting this past week, I did completely just not even try to work out about midweek, maybe on starting Tuesday, early in the week.
Fair enough.
As I made a really bold maneuver at work,
Oh,
it
okay.
completely consumed me. Let
I
me tell
see.
you what I did.
Yeah.
So I decided to reach out to a really senior person in the company that I work at, because he's recruiting for he has a position open on his team.
Mhm.
I'm interested, but clearly that is maybe a couple steps up from where I am right now. But I decided to be bold and go for it. I emailed him once, he did not respond. And the second time when I emailed him, which was pretty much on around Tuesday, probably on Monday, I dropped meeting request along with the email. It was a really bold move.
Mhm.
But I did say that, you are welcome to decline. I will not take it. I will not take offense of it. But he accepted, and not only that, asked for my resume, and
Okay.
that kind of set me off of
Ah.
on totally focusing on
Work.
the preparation for that meeting later in the
Right.
week. And it's exciting and nervous, making me nervous at the same time. And again, this is a bold move because he is really high up in the organization.
I see.
That makes it a little bit more, makes it a little bit a bigger deal than a usual work week.
I see. So there was some good news, it sounds like, this week that kind of made it hard to. Yeah, no, I mean, that's often what happens. It's like something happens, work does get in, but at least this is good news. It sounds like this is like happy stress, if I may say.
This is good stress indeed. Well, sad to say that position is a little bit higher, more than what I can offer at the moment. Confirmed from my conversation with this person. But he was very gracious, very encouraging. He said I'm doing the right thing, and he really appreciated that I reached out. And he also was impressed by my resume, even though it's not the right fit yet. He wants to continue to keep in touch.
Nice.
I definitely see that as a positive.
That's awesome. And tying back to the prior episodes, you can put him on your contact list of people to keep in touch with.
Exactly right. Like that, exactly right.
It all ties together.
Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that was good news. And yeah, what are you thinking about doing next week? Your goals for next week?
Yeah, since I did not really even get to a satisfactory result this week on my goal, I need to continue follow through and make that my goal again this coming week. But instead of just doing workout, just saying that I want to work out more, I think I will set myself a target at 3 runs, outdoor runs, so that I won't lie on the mat and do nothing.
Right.
If I push myself out the door, at least I don't run, I will walk. So that's my goal. 3 outdoor run.
That's a pretty good goal. Yeah. Is the weather conducive for that over there, or is it too
At the
hot?
moment, it's all right. It's a little on the hotter side, but it's manageable.
Okay.
How about you, Joanne?
Yeah, I think same as well, continuing this until it really sticks. I will say, like, the past 2 episodes I had the goal of not eating fried foods, and that actually has stuck. It just
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm kind of monitoring that, and it does seem to kind of seep into other, or just being more conscious about like what I'm eating. It forces me to think about that. So like when I have to think about, oh, I shouldn't eat this because it's fried, I think about other stuff. I'm like, oh, that's not healthy. I probably shouldn't eat that either. So I've been seeing like some mild benefits that in general forces me to think about my food intake. Now, by no means do I have anything like standard, like, or of like, oh, I eat this salad and this many times or whatever. I definitely don't eat vegetables as many times, but yeah, it has been sticking, which is great. This week as well, I want to focus a little bit more on exercise as well. I've been talking a lot to like some physical therapists around me and people who do like bodybuilding or strength training. Like we have one of our colleagues who was a Navy SEAL, and he's like freaking buff. Yeah, the nicest guy ever. But I talked to him a little bit about nutrition, because like some of the training that he got was just amazing. They would get top-notch nutritionists, top-notch physical therapists, and strength trainers, martial artists, like, and they would just educate them about, obviously combat stuff, but the best type of like way to exercise without injuries and blah blah blah. And like when I kind of pull the general opinion of strength training, because that hasn't been really my focus, there does seem to be like a general guideline of like, okay, you should probably practice your core or your legs and your arms, your back, both sides, as opposed to just like one thing. So for an example, one of the physical therapists I was talking to, he was saying if you look at swimmers back in the day, like 5-10 years ago, you'll see they're all hunched, because those are the muscles that they use the most, and they thought you just needed to train those muscles. But if you see the swimmers now, they're more upright and not hunched over, because they're seeing that actually you do better when you exercise the muscles that are opposing the ones that you use the most. So like if you're on your back muscles, if you're hunching over, you're flexing. So your flexions are used the most, but then you have to exercise the extensors as well to counterbalance it. So I think that was kind of interesting. He's like everything is a counterbalance of those muscles in your back and front, your pull-ups and pushes. So that got me thinking, like, I was like, wow, I don't know a lot about my body or the muscles or types of exercises I need to do. So actually this week, yeah, I want to continue to try to work out, still do the same, like a little bit cardio and kind of get into more of a regimen. But I also want to actually research a lot of literature so I can kind of have a grasp of like, okay, these are the things I kind of need to do, and these are the type of exercises that are kind of a general consensus that is good and healthy or whatever. So, yeah.
That sounds like a great goal, and I would be very eager to hear what you learn.
Yeah.
Because same here. I mean, don't know too much about my body. I mean, there's biceps and triceps.
Right.
That's it.
There are muscles.
And my knees. Yeah.
And your knees. Yeah, it was kind of cool because like the Navy SEAL dude, I told him about my rotator cuff injury, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've had the same thing, and these are the exercises that you recommend." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." So that kind of led me into getting like some like minor equipment that I can use at home, like one of those little bands I can pull and push and put on the door. So yeah, I am more than happy to. I mean, hopefully I can get it accomplished by next week, but I am realizing our podcast comes sooner than I think. Like a week seems very short.
My week felt really short. In fact, I was still on Tuesday and Friday roll around.
Yeah.
Anyways, but a great point that you mentioned is true. In the past, the swimmers are always a bit hunchover, and in fact, the Olympic Games that I watched recently. All these swimmers are really upright. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting in how the physiology of sports kind of evolves too, because also tennis, you know, back in the day when they had those little round wooden tennis rackets, when you see them serve, they bend all the way back and like the ball's like behind them, and then, you know, it was almost like this very drastic motion. But, and that was almost like looked upon as like, oh my gosh, look at that crazy pose. But then now you look at people serving, it's not drastic at all, but it's faster too. Like the ball goes faster, and it's not like this weird like bend backwards or whatever. It's literally just like aim it head high, like around where you can hit it at the highest level, in a more natural way.
Was it because the racket was heavier back then?
You know,
or is it a matter of style?
It wasn't so much the racket. I don't know in terms of what the thinking was back then. It may have been they thought if you, and this is my theory, I have no idea what the actual reasoning was, but culturally it was kind of like that. But also I think if you threw it kind of above your head or behind, then when you swing at it, you'll have more of a curve of the ball. You know? Whereas if you throw it more towards where your arm is, like towards the right side of your head, you know, it's more just like kind of like a slam dunk motion as opposed to a curve. So I wonder if that's what their theory was, like you want to curve the ball forward so it bounces really quick. But yeah, I don't know if nowadays they just have figured out how to make that curve without having to throw it behind you, essentially.
Yeah. Impressive. The hand-eye coordination must be top notch.
Right.
And
but
very
yeah,
interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah. And speaking of Olympics, have you watched anything fun, or were you just kind of like watching like clips of it here and there?
Just watching clips here and there, and I'm always interested in synchronized swimming, gymnastics, and swimming sometimes. And so those are kind of videos that I try to look out for, but I actually watch very little this year, this time around. I used to watch a lot of the programs, Olympic programs, probably also because you watch the consuming the way we consume TV streaming, all these programs have changed a lot, and that's sort of not really built into my routine anymore. Watching something that's that is live, so that's me. And also, I've been pretty much working on a few different things, and therefore also didn't pay too much attention on Olympics, but I'm always interested because that's a really great event.
Yeah, it's been really inspiring to see all these athletes. So I know last podcast you were doing the random question of the day.
That's right.
I wasn't sure if it was my turn or if you had another one, because I did not think of anything. Although I can think of one on the spot if you wanted me to.
You can think of one on the spot. You have any?
What is your preference, or if you had to choose one value between mercy or justice, which one would it be?
Wow.
I know, I went deep on this one.
Certainly.
Compared to your what's your favorite brand question?
I know.
Very different.
Okay, I appreciate it. It's random. It's the deep kind of random.
Yeah.
If I have to choose mercy versus a justice, I think the foundation for me will have to be justice, even though I wish we have both. I think it comes hand in hand. But justice should come first and then add on mercy. That's my answer.
Nice. That's very nice. Do you happen to know your Myers-Briggs personality score?
I believe I have done the Myers-Briggs test multiple times in the past year, maybe decade or so. Some extroverted for sure. I don't quite remember the rest.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually looking this up as we talk about it. It's a question that comes up when you take the Myers-Briggs test that made me think. It like stuck with me. I was like, oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, mine was, I chose mercy, but I don't know what that actually correlates with in terms of like the personality trait, whether that's more of like a thinking versus feeling type of thing. So, but yeah, I thought that was a very good question, and there really is no. I've polled a lot of my friends the same question, and it's been all different, which is kind of interesting.
I love that question.
Yeah, it's a what do you call it? Icebreaker. There you go.
Love it. I'm gonna use it. And why do you choose mercy?
I think it's harder for humans to forgive, and so it's I just
That feel.
Yeah, I guess it's yeah, I feel like it's to me, in my eyes, I see it as a harder task to overcome than justice. And to me, a more aspiring goal. So, like, of course, I agree, justice, order, law and order, that type of stuff definitely needs to be in place. But I guess mercy is one of those things where it's not, you don't get rewarded for it, but it's so hard to do.
So, it is hard.
Yeah, it's like one of those like aspiring values, ideologies, I guess.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but yeah, I have many more random ice-breaking questions that I'll use for next time too.
I look forward to all of them.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But a great segment. Yeah. I think we're about time up. Anything else you would like to say? I'm gonna have you close.
No, I just look forward to the next week, trying to crush that 3 runs.
Yes.
I think that is very doable. And for you, you have been my inspiration, Joanne. You go on hikes regularly. You're outdoors all the time, so I'm gonna be like you. Hopefully next week.
I mean, by no means I am that fit, so.
No, you're pretty fit. But of course, there's always room for improvement. And I look forward to hearing what you learn about human body, how our muscles work.
Definitely. Yeah, I will definitely, hopefully I can get something done by next week and share it too.
Yeah. And with that, I think that will be all for today. And we look forward to getting back together next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.